Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today in this incredible venue. As I told Ed Riley, it takes a lot to get me out of City Hall because I feel like it's my own little castle. But this venue, always, it's easy to leave City Hall to come down here. If I could just ask the councilors to come over, and Ed Riley as well, please come on over and join me. I am honored to be joined today by Ed Riley. As most of you know, the major energy behind the renovation of this beautiful building, and I'm also joined by members of the council, Steve Thompson, Sue Boyle, Joe Kearney, Helen Hudson, Joe Nicoletti, and Khalid Bey. I want to thank each of you as well as them for joining us today for what is just an extraordinary announcement. As many of you know and have heard us talk about repeatedly, the city of Syracuse has many challenges, and none more demonstrable than our poverty rates and the and unemployment of so many of our residents. We have heard over and over again the just dispiriting statistic about our incredibly high rates of poverty for Black and Latino citizens. At the same time, we have forced ourselves and challenged ourselves to make sure that we bring our downtown back, because it is truly an economic engine of our entire community and region. The last few years, we have seen that transformation of our downtown before our eyes, with making smart planning decisions and investing in infrastructure and working with the right leaders and making smart decisions. We have seen long empty buildings brought back to life, and once quiet streets now filled with vibrant shops, apartments, and restaurants. None more important than the building that we are currently in. We have seen this building come to life once again before our very eyes and remind us all of our past and our family's history. We have been thrilled to enable Ed to do the kind of work that he has specialized in to bring this building back to life, and the excitement that Ed and his team has garnered and caused in this community is something that I've only seen in March when the Syracuse University basketball team plays very well. Yes, yeah, it's true. Yay for the Syracuse men's basketball team and women's, and Ed Riley, absolutely. But we today are coming together to announce a remarkable opportunity that we have taken advantage of. We are going to capitalize on the growth and vibrancy of downtown, and at the same time help our neighbors with the greatest needs. My administration, working with members of the council, has made sure that we are doing all that we can to assure more economic opportunity for the people of our community. We have achieved ambitious goals under the Joint Schools Construction Board, and most recently I signed into law the Syracuse Resident Hiring Ordinance, which requires city contracts over $100,000 to guarantee 20% of the hours worked on a project be done by city residents. But today, I and the council and Ed Riley are excited to announce a new robust deal which will bring jobs to Syracuse residents while at the same time revitalizing and renovating an important downtown building and bringing it back into productive use. Most of you know what we will now be calling the Symphony Tower was the former annex of the Hotel Syracuse right across Onondaga Street. While a renovation began in 2007, legal issues tied that title up until the fall of 2015. And after having spent so much time in litigation with a foreign owner, the title has now been clear, and great new partners, including Ed Riley, are now part of the deal and can work in earnest to bring it back to life. It was time also to build on this opportunity to provide jobs for the residents of the city of Syracuse. So the Symphony Tower property owed more than $1.6 million in back taxes, fees, and penalties to the city. As part of the deal I am announcing today, and that will be on the council's agenda today, this year's taxes will be made current, and they will begin repaying the owed taxes, starting with a down payment of $500,000 and paying the remainder of the back taxes over 15 years with a 12% interest rate. In exchange, the city will forgive roughly $522,000 in late fees and penalty fees accrued by the previous ownership. The developers have agreed, as part of this, to construction hiring requirements where 20% of the subcontractors will be minority and women-owned business enterprises, 12% minority and 8% women. And they have also agreed that 20% of the workforce on this project will be designated for equal opportunity employment, 10% minority men and 10% women. And finally, and not the least importantly, and perhaps the most groundbreaking of this whole agreement, is that 20% of the workforce, 10% men and 10% women, will be Syracuse City residents. This will ensure that the people of this community get a finite and real benefit from the renovation of this property that will also provide a benefit to our entire community and the entire region. Once this Symphony Tower is open, you will see a new extended stay hotel, and they have pledged to continue their goals of the Marriott that we are now in, to make sure that the resident hiring stays a part of these properties. This is indeed a historic investment. It brings our community a revitalized downtown, and the progress that we sit in right now, seeing a revitalized Hotel Syracuse, bringing it back to life. And it also is creating opportunities for the hardworking men and women of our city who seek greater economic security. This is another chance to show that public dollars can be used for broadly inclusive economic development that is real and creates access to economic security and opportunity for the very people who live here. All of this would not have been possible without the agreement and support of the Common Council members, and also the negotiations with private sector leaders like Ed Riley and others who have taken upon themselves to agree that we all have a part in renewing the vision and the promise that the city of Syracuse holds for all of its residents, not just a lucky few. With that, I would like to turn the microphone over to Ed Riley, and once again, thank him for his partnership in allowing this project to come to fruition with these truly unique and historic agreements. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, council members, mayor, thank you, your staff, for just assisting in this and working with us. Gary Thurston and I are obviously, we're partners on this project here. We're also partners on Symphony Tower / and I'll say this, the Hyatt House, which will be the first Hyatt hotel to come to downtown Syracuse. And, you know, we couldn't be happier to be part of this agreement and to be part of the continued revitalization of not just downtown, but of its residents that live and work in the city itself. That's very important to us. It's very important that we honor our commitment to putting people to work, to doing the right thing, and to show off what's best about our community, because really this building and the building across the street will be a lot of people's first impression of our city and where it can go and where it can be. I think that we've had excellent discussions on this project with the city. Without their help and assistance, without you folks stepping up, this wouldn't happen, to be very honest with you. The hurdles were just too much to overcome financially, and the project would have stagnated and sat there as basically being a shell and a hulk. We obviously don't like that being across from our front door. We'd like to have it dressed up, so I think that's a major accomplishment. And I'd also like to say one other thing about the project and about it. Without Gary Thurston's tenacity and sitting and going through this entire project for how many years, Gary, were you? There's 18 years. 8 years he's been on this thing. It felt like 18, I know. But without him making the commitment to keep that property under control and also to maintain it without knowing if he would have actually prevailed in the litigation and the lawsuits, I think that's a tremendous amount of commitment to the community and to what was right, and I have to applaud him for that and thank him for that on that. So the project will be 120 keys, extended stay hotel. You can see that the front corner has been removed The one-story portion, that's where the porte cochere will be. It'll include upgrades to the site. You can see a site wall, different plantings in the front. It'll have an outdoor area for seating and having breakfast in the morning, drinks in the afternoon type of arrangements. But most of all, it's an extended stay product. We are using a lot of the work that was previously done in the building, so it'll be a little bit of a cut above a standard hotel of this type, but we think that fits also very well with this hotel. The project itself, we'd like to get going on it. It's in for permitting right now. We'd like to see this start very shortly in January, and we'd like to get it open by next fall, and that's our goal with this project. We're looking forward to a great partnership with Hyatt and the rest of our stakeholders that helped us put this together. A lot of the same team members. We're hopeful that they'll come on board with this and move it forward. So with that, I would thank everyone again, and I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to invite to the podium Khalid Bey, who is the chair of the city's Economic Development Committee. And he and I spent many hours talking about not just this project in particular, but the larger challenge of making sure that there is shared opportunity for everyone in the city of Syracuse. And his recent track record of the Syracuse Resident Employment Act and his continued efforts to make sure that everybody shares in economic development, not just a wealthy few, is to be commended. And so we wouldn't be here today would it not be for his continued advocacy. So with that, I'd like to invite him up to the podium.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor, for that. I want to jump right in and express my appreciation to the Mayor's administration and to Ed Riley for keeping his word. You know, when we initially met and we talked about the project, this initial project, he started the conversation by talking about the local hiring opportunity that he would provide for people here in the city. He stayed true to his word. I walked by the site many of times and saw people that I've known for years, you know, involved and excited about being involved in such a big project. But I also want to commend him and the Mayor's administration for continuing that effort to make what I continually argue to be a very deliberate investment in people in the city, with the intent of improving the financial standing of individuals, families, our communities, and of course, our city as a whole. You know, I think, you know, some may argue that the immediate losses associated with any project of this size is a valid argument. Of course, I would make a different argument and say that the benefits as it relates to our tax collection opportunity, whether you're talking about property taxes or otherwise, the job opportunity, the opportunity for attracting more patrons, the ancillary opportunities for businesses in the immediate area far outweighs the potential, you know, in terms of growth when you compare it to what some may argue as losses or immediate losses associated with the property. So I think it's very courageous and very intelligent on the part of Mr. Rowley and those involved, the Mayor's administration, for seeing how to take this thing to the next step and to make our downtown and our city that much better. So again, I applaud you guys. I thank you for the opportunity. Ed, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. We will do questions for the media off the podium, and the rest of you, I want to thank you for being here and your participation, your work to get us to this point and moving forward to get to this project. In the meantime, I would suggest that you eat all the coffee and danishes you can and take advantage of the hospitality. So happy holidays, and thank you very much for being here.